Hello, this is Mark from I Am Organic Gardening, located in Zone 6B in the state of New Jersey. And in today's video, I want to go over what we can do to our soil to go from dirt to soil using a C.P.R. method. I kind of came up with this idea calling it C.P.R. to rejuvenate dirt to soil. The C stands for compost or covers that we're going to add to the top of our soil. And the P stands for plant. We need a living plant root in the ground all the time, as long as possible. And the R is to rejuvenate or regenerate the ground. So I want to show you how this works. Like I said before, we have our raspberry canes here in our soil for the last 4 years. What the perennial root has done living in the ground after I added some compost and grew a cover crop and then planted up my raspberries, we're going to take a soil sample below here. I want to show you how the soil has changed from a hard clay soil into a rich loamy soil, keeping that living plant root in the ground all the time to regenerate and rejuvenate it. Now you can see what that soil looks like just about 2 feet away from the main row of those raspberry plants. But now I want to take something like a sample, let's say 5 to 6 feet away, and then again 10 feet away, and I'll show you the difference in how the soil has gone to a darker, rich color over the years. I just took a step on the other side of the row, and now I'm going to take a soil sample from right in the middle of this row, and I'm going to take another sample right along the fence line. A lot of people ask me on my farm over the years that you've been watching my channel what my soil originally looked like. And now we're going to find out, because it's been undisturbed and the fence has been up for let's say 18 years now. So that's to keep the deer out. So we're going to see what the original soil looks like right at the edge of that fence line that's been undisturbed. So let's take a look at this sample and get a nice close-up look as soon as I remove it out of the ground. Here's what that sample looks like. You can see it's not too bad, but it's a little bit lighter in color compared to right next to the raspberry plants with that perennial living root in the ground. Now our last sample is going to be right next to the fence. You can see that in the background. And so let's dig that sample up and show you that. Now I can see what that looks like. This is what my original farm soil looked like. Now again, there has been some living roots in the ground over the years, and that's due to weeds and other things too. Now the difference between, let's say, an area like this compared to where the raspberry plants are, is the raspberry plants are growing taller and can collect more sunlight, so they can deliver more carbon dioxide back into the ground, causing that rich soil look. The reason why you have a rich soil looking structure in the ground is because something like I mentioned in the other soil series that I've been working on, and I hope you wish to watch that too, is that there's something called glomalin that makes soil aggregates. And what it does, when it exudes from this mycorrhizal fungi, which is explained in that soil series, the part that exudes out of this fungal hyphae that's in the ground that makes all these soil particles here into something that is more absorbed by water, and also nutrients can recycle in the ground, is that the color of that glomalin when it exudes out of the fungal hyphae is also brown in color. That gives what gives you that rich soil looking color, plus your organic matter and carbon. The main focus is to get that carbon dioxide out of our atmosphere back into the ground using that perennial living root, or a living root in the ground, as long as possible to rejuvenate our soil. So here's a great example of all 3 samples. Now we have our one here that was right next to our raspberry plants. The one in the middle was in the middle of the row. That was about, say, 8 feet away. And this is the one that was close to the fence. And you can see the texture and color difference in all 3 of them, going from really good, rejuvenated, because we always had a living plant root in the ground. So how do you do this in your own garden using the C.P.R. method? It's simple. After your vegetable season is over, you remove the old residue from the top or something that's died off, but you don't remove the roots out of the ground. You leave it in there, you just cut all that foliage off above it right at the soil level. And then you have to plant some type of cover crop to keep that living root going over the winter. Because without that living root, there's something called mycorrhizal fungi will not grow in your soil and exude this glomalin. You have to have a living root. It doesn't have to get sunlight over the whole winter season. It can be buried in snow, but the main goal is to have that living root in the ground, because a mycorrhizal fungi has to have a host living in there. Just like the raspberry root. The raspberry plant is dormant over winter, but the root's still alive, and the mycorrhizal fungi is going to grow out of that root, starting to create all those passageways and also exuding glomalin over the winter. I also want to give you this view that you can see probably more clearly of the 3 soil samples. Again, the one on the left hand side is towards the raspberry bushes, and then moving to the right was near the fence. This is in natural sunlight that I have now. I was actually blocking the sunlight from before to hopefully give you a better picture, and hopefully it comes up on your screen better. So I don't know which one works out best for you, but again, I want to show you the samples difference that you can see here, how that C.P.R. method, and this is done by nature, free of charge. It all works well, and I hope you're also enjoying my soil series that I have on now. And if you have any questions on this, most likely they're going to be answered by watching this soil series that I have, how to grow nutrient-dense fruits and vegetables. Give it a look, and again, I want to thank you very much for watching today's video. I'm very glad that you're here enjoying my videos all the time. So if you can, please give it a good thumbs up. And if you have time, please share. And if you haven't done so, please subscribe. And we're going to get back in the garden and also start growing some cover crops for the springtime as soon as the soil warms up a little bit, so I can get some plants growing in there as a cover crop. Thanks again for watching. I just want to show you this too. My raspberry field here with all my plants in here is also home for a lot of groundhogs, and I don't know if this is going to work on camera or not, but you can get in there and see how well they dig those holes in the ground and how deep they go into the ground and the soil. It's just amazing. But again, I don't bother them and they don't bother me, and if they take a couple of vegetables, that's fine. It's all part of things in the future.